Yeah. Oh
Maybe,
boy,
maybe
sorry about
somebody
that.
in chat can help us out here to let us know if we're actually back. I didn't think my take was that bad, man. I mean, you just hit a
No, it was
touchdown like
phenomenal. It
that.
was absolutely phenomenal. Let
That
me.
was crazy. That was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I'm checking back in here. Okay. Is that good? I can't believe I just did that. I need to check on these different channels. Holy moly.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, we can just live stream to ourselves,
Yeah,
chat.
no, okay. So it's back.
Okay,
Yeah. Hold on.
we are back.
Yeah, we are back.
Well, look, just to go back to your point real quick on these empty boxes is absolutely people are trying to sell empty boxes because when things are worth money, people try to sell them, and it's absolutely crazy. I would say the people that are buying them are probably the nefarious people that want to try to reseal them, and if you look at a fake box compared to a real box and you know what you're looking for, you can spot a fake box, right? The color's a little bit off, the font's a little bit off. We talked about that last week. But if you are looking at an absolutely real box that's just been resealed, it's a lot harder because guess what? You're looking at a real box. And when we talk about some of these boxes, right now a 151 booster bundle is worth 175 to $200. Why wouldn't you spend 20 bucks and then put some, crap inside there and reseal it? There's a pretty good profit margin if you're an absolute, shithead. So,
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Now, the other thing on the sports side of things that I want to go back to is for the top Series 1 release that came out, just a couple months ago, a month ago, whatever it is, the grades that are getting a 10 are already going for like a pretty solid penny, upwards of $300. So you've talked a lot about how vintage cards, this, that, and the other thing going for grading. We're looking at some new cards. What exactly does that look like in terms of what the uh, cost is for grading some expensive cards versus newer cards?
well, so if this just came out and you want to be first to market, you're going to pay somewhere 75 to $150 to get it back in a couple weeks. If you really truly want to be first to market, you can pay upwards of $300 if you're looking for like a 10-day turnaround, right? So there's definitely a lot of people, especially in the Pokemon space, that do this like first to market thing, right? Like it gets pulled on day one, it looks super clean, you send it right away, 5-day turnaround, you eat the $300 if it's a top chase because that first to market is going to go for a couple grand for some reason, right? Which is just anybody with sense knows you shouldn't buy that very first one to market, especially if it's not a numbered or serialized card or anything like it. It's just not smart when it comes to wanting to get any sort of real value, for your purchase. But yeah, I mean a base Shohei going for that, I can't imagine that will hold up, right? So it's someone trying to make a play quickly, grading them as quick as possible, and then pulling it over on some schmucks that have some FOMO and want to own this card right away.
I what an unbelievable breakdown. So let me ask you again because last time we went over the Cyberpunk TCG. I don't know if you were actually there at the time when we went over it, but the consensus was essentially that like nobody cared about Cyberpunk. And I was like, I feel like people do, considering they had a goal of $100,000 raise on Kickstarter to then now be cracking like $13 million in a couple of days. Like, what's going on here?
I don't get it. And look, I'm gonna look like an absolute fool when this thing turns into like the greatest TCG ever. But like honestly, I don't get it. Like, are they offering like outsized rewards for contributing to this? Because look, I may be the wrong person to ask because I don't hang out with a ton of people that play any TCGs outside of Pokemon, but man, it just seems kind of crazy for a new TCG to raise $12 million, $13 million from normal people, but maybe I'm just not plugged in with that side of the TCG world.
Wow. Listen, I feel like of all people that we could potentially talk to, you're pretty damn plugged in. And we've seen where Kevin O'Leary went out and did the whole diamond encrusted chain. Now, we have Louis Varland, who's a pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, having a Milestraw PSA card that's really blurred out, so I can't even tell what like what the specifics of the card are, but you notice the big ass chain on them. Is it just cool to be into trading cards, or what do you think of everybody really trying to flaunt in a special way?
Is that cool though? Like, is that cool to wear a chain like that around your neck, or is this like a tongue-in-cheek cool thing, right? Because like he doesn't have $1 million card around his neck, so is he doing this because he's trying to flex, or is he doing this to kind of like make fun of the people with these big chains? Because like no offense, but like the people that walk around Pokemon shows with these big chains on and expensive cards in them, like we kind of all laugh at them. Like that's just to be honest with you.
Okay, I mean, like I see. I wouldn't go as far as thinking like he's doing that as like a diss, but I like the fact that you kind of perceived that going to that distance. Now, I want to make sure that I am sharing the screen with audio because the next thing is something that this is like a me thing, okay? Like this is a description of my life of random things just happening. So Gary Vaynerchuk, who's a really well-known entrepreneur, motivational speaker, he writes this article, the most underrated trading card set in the world and the 6 rookies that make it so special. Now you scroll through, he gives a whole bunch of different insights of, hey, here's the background, this, that, the other thing, and welcome, or when it comes to Marvel, the answer leads to one specific set, the 1966 Don Ross Marvel superhero set. And oddly enough, when I went to the Toronto Sports Card Expo, what was the one vendor that I ended up talking to? Well, it happened to be a vendor that was specifically selling just that, which I think is apropos, but here we go.
66 Don Ross Marvel cards. So they come with different characters, Iron Man, Daredevil, Captain America, Hulk, all the key Marvel characters. And the rookie card, the most valuable card out of the lot is the Spider-Man. That's the Chiefs card and the 1966 Don Ross Marvel cards.
And how much does that one roughly go for?
That one is $550 in that grade. Obviously, if grades are higher, they're a lot more money.
And did you end up picking these up off secondary, or were they from pack rips that you had?
No, these were all bought online or at auction. 66.
So when you hear that it's $550, what do you think? Like, is that a deal? Is that just bag pumping? What
did Gary call this?
The
most underrated?
Oh, let's go back and check.
He has to have a bag. Yeah, the most underrated trading card set. He's got to have a bag of these, right? Like, look, if there's one thing Gary, look, and I'm not accusing him of purposely pumping these because he has a bag of these, but what about this makes it so underrated, right? If the biggest chase from it is going for 550, maybe it's underrated because he thinks it's, worth 100 grand. And yeah, technically if it's only 550 and he thinks it's worth 100 grand, that would be pretty underrated. But what, maybe I need to go read this. But because 550 just seems, I mean, do I need to go buy these? Like, is this like alpha that you're trying to give me right here, that I need to go buy this like top chase and retire my family?
Retire my family. I mean, that's a pretty hyperbolic thing to say, but I respect it. I respect it on that front. But I would actually see, now I almost regret not doing a little bit more research after this, because I wanted to show, but I mean, if we were going to go and look up these like 1966 Don Ross Marvel cards, was there actually a pump for it? Because like this article was not like a new thing. Like this came out, trying to quickly go through this because I'm assuming it's going to have a date on the bottom of this because it came out like a week ago. Yeah, March 22nd. Yeah, so again, it's the 26th today. So this was very much not too long ago where this was said. And I feel like I've not seen anybody out on the timeline trying to highlight like, yeah, this set is what's going on, the alpha, everything else. I just don't see it anywhere.
Look, I think if you go on eBay right now, there's a guy selling a bunch of them under the username VeryG. It looks like. So yeah, really weird. I don't know. I just don't know who has all the supply of this really underrated card set.
This really underrated card set. So what we have coming up is a couple of different guests that are going to come on and talk about some different TCGs. So we're going to be talking about Vibes TCG. We're going to be talking about Azuki TCG. We're going to get a little bit into Magic the Gathering. And one thing that happened right before we went live is I uploaded a clip, and let me see if I can actually grab the one right here. There will always be fans to new stories, or hell yeah. Now you got to ask about Dune. I've never seen Dune. Is that
Neither have I.
okay? So Toasty, you're absolutely allowed to red card us on this front. So I want to play this like really quick video because I'm getting scolded on a couple of different social media platforms. This is wrong, and I know, yo, Chonkeroo, what's going on? How are we doing, boss?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good, good, good. So on this one, right quick. So this is a magic card, right?
Yep.
And
it's an APAC forest.
okay, hey, listen, this guy knows everything. And so I got to see if you can pick out what particularly I got scolded on about regarding this, okay? Christopher Rush is an artist. And you can see within these cards, if you look closely on the back of the Pokemon card, it's got kind of a wooded area. And for this magic card, oh, look, it's the exact same wooded area. So that artist got hired for both trading card games to put something together. Now, I did a little bit of research because I was like, let's try to see if there's anything particular about it. So first of all, the Mewtwo card goes for about $90 when we're talking raw, not graded, depending on condition. For the Forest card, it goes for about $14. But what's interesting about this is for that land card, there's actually 3 different variants, as you can see the border. Okay, so you don't need any more of that. Chonkeroo, what did I screw up on that if you know? And don't, no pressure, no pressure.
Well, Christopher Rush passed away a few years ago, so I don't know when that Mewtwo was made. But that may or may not have been. Did he draw for a fact? I don't know that.
So this is the thing that I'm like, okay, so I thought that I ended up doing the research to find out what was going on. And what I'm getting told on some of the different platforms is that, one, the card that's associated within this are different backgrounds, and I'll try to bring up a different one. And so if you look at the forest, and obviously this is a little hard because we're screen sharing, but apparently those 2 backgrounds are slightly different variants, but intended to be kind of that same look. But then I also got scolded that like, oh, this card's the same because there's not a symbol on there, and then it's the Magic Arena or it's the Magic Online one. And I'm like, okay, listen, I went and I saw this Scryfall.com website, and it's got 3 of them. So I thought it was 3 different, but unreal.
APAC did have 3 different pictures in them, and one of them is more rare than the others.
Unreal. Donnie, we just seem to have like the most intelligent guests ever. But listen, Chonkeroo, thank you so much for joining. Excited to get into things with you. So you came from the Vibes TCG realm, but I gotta open the floor and let you kind of do the walk and introduce yourself, because I feel like you've got kind of a cool past. So give us the lowdown and we'll get into some questions.
Sure. So I am 38 years old. I started playing Magic when I was 12. And I got into Magic. I played Magic fairly competitively up through college. And then graduated college, and Star City hired me and moved me to Roanoke to work for them. I worked for them for about 6 years, and then I kind of just got burnt out with card stuff. And I was out of the card game for about 10 years. And in November, I went to SCG Con Vegas, and I still have a bunch of friends that work at Star City, and one of them, John Suarez, if you guys know him, started playing Vibes. And he was like, hey, this game's great. Here's a deck. And I played like 2 practice games with it, and then won a 5K. And so that kind of launched my Vibes career. There were no times between that tournament that I could have qualified for Worlds, and they gave me a wildcard invitation to Worlds. So I went to Worlds at SCG Con Portland. I top-8'd Worlds. Top-8'd the 10K the next day, top-8'd the 10K in Milwaukee, and top-8'd the 10K in Richmond a couple weeks ago. So I've been on a nice little tear. I've won over $7,000 playing Vibes since November.
Donnie, what are we doing on a day-to-day basis where we're not pulling in that kind of capital trading cards competitively, I should say?
Not playing Vibes. That's what I'm not doing.
It's a great game.
Well, so that's what we're going to get into. But I mean, I guess from like my standpoint, when I think of Vibes, it is a game that is relatively new, but it's got an interesting audience because there was sort of a community that was built as it came through from the Pudgy Penguin side of things, and then it's expanded. They've also gotten pretty aggressively into the competitive scene, and now we just had the announcement the other day where the 3rd set is coming out. So, Donnie, before we go back to Chonker here, what do you think about Vibes so far?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Vibes because obviously I come from the Web3 world and was a big fan of Spencer with OCAP Games. So, you know, am on the collectible side of the Vibes, right? I have a lot of promo cards. I've got a couple sketches. You know, I kind of believe in how a cute IP can do really, really well. And I believe that Vibes is a very cute IP. As we kind of talked about last week, and The One Piece not really being a for kids IP at times. Vibes is a for kids IP. A lot of times, right? The other thing I really like about Vibes is a lot of their cards have meme references and cultural references and things like that. Stuff that people don't really pick up right away, but if you're kind of on the in, you realize what these references are when it comes to Vibes. So I'm a big fan of Vibes. You know, I have, like I said, I've got a lot of promos. I've graded a lot of promos when it comes to that. So big fan, but I know nothing, absolutely nothing about the actual TCG game. So that's what I'm really kind of excited to have a not just a player of it, but a pretty good player of the TCG game to kind of, you know, walk us through what is so appealing about the TCG game, kind of why the TCG game has taken off, you know, when it comes to, you know, emerging TCGs.
Well, so Chonkeroo, with that, can you give us a 45-second elevator pitch of how you would describe Vibes, and then we'll get into some of those things that Donnie was thinking about.
Sure. Vibes, my 45-second elevator pitch, it would be it is at its core a very simple game to learn. So the rules are not very complex at their core. It's something that you can play with your kids if you wanted to, but the high levels do have extremely complex interactions that I would actually argue are probably more complex and more challenging than Magic, which is the only game that I really have to reference it to. There's a lot of rules and components that are similar to Magic, but in Magic, I've never played a game where, like, turn 4, I did one minor thing and it ended up costing me the game. Like, that you can usually recover, but you can play the wrong card as a rod face down in Vibes, and you're cooked for the rest of the game. You have to know the format extremely well. Lots of playtesting, lots of practicing.
And what does it look like when we're looking at some of these other games that are out there? Because I think one of the notions that we're seeing across the timeline is, oh, there's no way these other trading card games can survive. It's going to only be Pokemon. And there's just like, there's all this negativity, but it feels like we're finding massive success where Vibes is hosting these tournaments. We were just talking before you jumped on about how Cyberpunk TCG has gotten like $13 million off of its Kickstarter, and people are caring about multiple trading card games. So, I mean, what's the crowd that's coming over to Vibes?
So I think the crowd that's coming over to the Vibes is a lot of former Magic players. A, because it exists at the SCG Con space. So there's people like me. I went there. I went to SCG Con to play Magic and just side events. And I was like, oh, cute penguin game, right? And I am not the Web3 person at all. Like, you mentioned that you're kind of tapping into that crowd, and I'm a crypto dummy. I was talking to some of the, like, Cautionfun's going to be one of your next guests, I believe. And he's like schooling me on crypto in every facet. I did not own Bitcoin before talking to that man, and I was like, all right, it's a decent plan. And so I think that it's this merger of two worlds, which with that merger, you get the haters from both worlds too. So you get the I hate the crypto people, and you get the I hate the TCG people. So I think you're just going to get those haters regardless.
It's kind of nuts to think about, though. Like, why do you think there's so much hate surrounding, like, trading cards? Because it felt like, you know, going to card shows, everybody's friendly. You know, talking with Donnie, hanging out, it's great. People last week, it's great. Hanging out with you, it's great. But it just feels like you look online and people are socially commenting that all of this stuff is negative and awful.
That's just the internet at this point, I think. Like, what can you do?
100%.
Yeah.
People are really, really vocal on the internet, but they will never say anything like that to your face. You know, they'll come up and shake your hand and be, oh my God, big fan, when they just went and trashed you on 5 posts online. It's quite hilarious, really.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of therapy from that. I used to write articles to make Magic content and stuff like that, and I stopped because of the haters, and I'm not letting them take Vibes from me.
Well, they can't. Well, I mean, it's called Vibes, so we
exactly.
we gotta keep it. We gotta keep it.
Well, when we're looking on the competitive side of things, though, what is, like, how integral is the competitive side, and how do you look at it from that perspective? Because I think, from my point of view, right, let's just say you're jumping into trading cards for the first time. I played Magic before, I played Pokemon before, and there just is so many options with it. And to kind of commit to a singular game, I feel like it takes effort. And why do you think Vibes is one of the games people should be paying attention to for the competitive aspect?
I think for the competitive aspect, aside from the fact that it's a good game, I don't think that you do it for just one aspect. So I'm going to answer your question in kind of like a weird way. I feel like Vibes right now is Magic Alpha. Like I started playing Magic in 1999. Urza's Saga had just come out, and I mean, like a $10 card was unheard of at the time, right? Like a Mox was up, you know, a couple $100. A Lotus was. I remember having the opportunity to buy a Lotus for $300, like things like that. And so it was so cheap, because the secondary market hadn't developed yet. And right now with Vibes, you're in that same era where a card is worth whatever someone's willing to pay for it at that exact moment. Like this guy right here, I cracked boxes online yesterday. This is Spencer's card. It's a foil red Mega Penguin. The last PSA 10 that sold on eBay was $1,000, and the box was $250. And so who knows what that one's worth, because you can't go find another one right now. I'm gonna have it graded, but.
Well, Donnie just grabbed the box. I don't know if he's trying to search.
Well, no, I mean, I got, you know, here's my PSA 10 sketch card. That I pulled myself. I mean, this is a purple Mega Penguin foil, some box.
I got one of those not graded yet. Well, so the cool part is Vibes is doing support to like make stuff worth coming out for. And I didn't know this until afterwards. So whenever you went to Worlds, every time you played an event, you got this guy. It is a foil Popcorn Penguin promo. I found out later, and I found this out in conversations with their employees, and I was like, am I allowed to talk about this? Like, are you guys cool? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. There's only 500 printed, and what they did not give out, they destroyed. Yeah. So however many of these exist in the world right now is it. And whenever you talk about collectibles and there's only a couple hundred in existence, those prices go up extremely fast.
I think that's one of the biggest aspects that I have enjoyed from Vibes is these event exclusive promos. And look, for a new TCG, they have had some very, very big promos done with grading companies, with different events. You know, South by Southwest was just there with an insane looking promo, right?
Yeah, I like that.
I think that there's something that most other new TCGs are not going to have, these type of partnerships, that's where I think Spencer comes in with being able to, you know, push these partnerships forward. But I'm always, you know, something happens at one of these cons and I'm online trying to buy one or two of the promos, because I am a firm believer, like you said, with, you know, low pop stuff from a new TCG. If Spencer and them really make this a big deal here in the next 5 to 10 years, some of these low pop promos from I mean, we've seen what it does in Pokemon, not saying that Vibes is Pokemon, but even if it's 1/100th of what some of these Pokemon promos go for one day, it's going to be well worth it.
There's no rule that says Vibes can't be Pokemon. Like, I mean, honestly, it's like it. Whenever Pokemon came out, if you guys are, I was in 6th grade and I got the game on my Game Boy, and everyone's like, stupid thing, it's going to last 2 years, right? And so the Pudgy Penguins IP came out. Now they have the Moonbirds IP, the bird, and all those are viral videos that get shared all the time. It's going to turn into a game. It's going to turn into a comic. There's no reason it can't be.
Yeah, no, you're going to get a lot of hate online for that one right there.
Good, I hope so. Good.
I just know it's coming. Oh, man, this guy thinks that Pudgy Penguins and Vibes is going to be Pokemon. No, he didn't say it's going to be Pokemon. He said there's no reason why it can't, right? And that is absolutely true, you know? Who knows what's going to be hot these next 5, 10, 20 years, and right? Right now they're doing some pretty cool things over at Vibes, you know, some actually like groundbreaking things, like coming up with their own card stock.
That's insane.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And I don't think people that aren't in the know how hard it is to do that and why it's also crazy. I mean, you hold these Vibes cards in your hand and they're like substantial cards, right? Like they don't feel like crap, but you know, they have this little orange card stock in here that they literally created from scratch, right? So they have their special type of paper.
If you rip a Magic card in half, it's blue in the middle. It's like a blue glue. Theirs is like an orange, thicker glue. And it's also, I got this statistic earlier. I believe, now you destroyed it.
Did you just rip a card?
It's done. It's done.
Dude, it was just a force of little rare, a yellow.
Whoever owns that little Pudgy is just
I know. Good thing you shifted the blame from me to you, the hate. So
there we go. Oh
yeah,
man,
there you go. I appreciate it. But from what I understand, there's about a 60% rate of PSA 10s from Vibes. A, because it's a new game, but B, because this card stock holds up so well.
I mean, it's an incredible card stock. It really is. You can literally see the orange piece of the card stock. You know, when it comes to being in there, you can see how it's orange. I mean,
so set 1 Enter the Huddle was not printed with that. So we're talking about Alpha. If you guys know Alpha and Magic, it has the different corners than the beta cards. They're more round. Alpha was less printed than beta. It's the exact same set, except they fixed some errors. Volcanic Island, Circle Protection Black, I think, for those who are quizzing me. Whenever they went to go print Unlimited, they chose to keep the round borders, or the smaller round borders rather than the alpha borders, because there was more of it printed. Now, whenever we start talking about first edition things and value in cards, Enter the Huddle was not printed on the orange stock. So that means this is the only Vibes product you're ever going to be able to buy with that stock. Thus making it that much more rare, like, even as the things get printed.
Talk to me, man. Talk to my 30 sealed boxes in the closet. Talk to them.
Oh, man. You have more willpower than me. I would have cracked them. I love it.
Let's go.
Well, okay. Let me ask this broader question then, Chonkeroo. It's a little bit off of Vibes, but I want to kind of keep the notion, because Donnie Slabs is saying, yo, I got a whole bunch of the sealed product. And what we've seen lately is that any new trading card game that's come out, I mean, not even necessarily new that's coming out, but like ones that have established at some point, like the Gundam game, etc. People are now going out and speculating on that front. What do you think about some of these games that aren't necessarily as mainstream as others, and people going out and trying to do the, hey, we're going to buy the sealed product and hold on it forever? Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's gambling either way at the end of the day. Like, you're gambling on the risk of on whether or not that game takes off. And what I would evaluate in that gamble is how much the company is investing. So a game like Vibes is doing everything they can to make that successful. They're having 10Ks at every single SCG Open, and at a loss, by the way. They're not covering their costs with the entrance right now. I mean, they're having 30, 40 person tournaments at most. And they're paying out $10,000 in cash prizes. They've come up with this revolutionary card stock to make it that much better. They are doing neat things for collectors, like the sketches, the promos. They're clicking all the right buttons to keep a game alive. So I don't know what the other games are doing, but with Vibes specifically, I think that it is a solid investment to keep them in the closet.
I think one point that I would make here is we saw Cyberpunk and we saw how much money they raised publicly, right? And we know Spencer has investors, right? But they're all private. So, the other thing is I believe that if the public is willing to put $13 million into a TCG, right? How much of the institutional money do we think actually backs Vibes? It's probably a pretty decent amount. So in terms of like the coffers that they have to really grow Vibes, I don't think that they're like I don't think they're struggling for any money when it comes to what they're willing to financially put behind Vibes. So like, to your point, when you look at what a company is doing, they're playing all the right cards and they're financially backed. I would say they're probably way better financially backed than a lot of startup TCGs.
I don't know the financial side behind it. I haven't heard that. This is the first time I'm hearing that 13 million figure. I know that they've done over $7 million in sales with an additional like $2 or $3 million, I think, in secondary market without the help of TCG Player yet. And so whenever you're trying to calculate those things and you're not even fully equipped with some of the best resources, that speaks volumes for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I'm just multitasking off on the side here. One thing that I wanted to discuss in somewhat length, if I can, the sketch cards. So these are the chase cards, which Donnie Slabs, I think you got one kind of handy there if you want to re-show that one off. I have to say, I wish they were a little bit more visible, because whenever you look at them online, or even in that case, it's like, this is rare, this is that, but it's like, you have to really, really look at it, but it's something that's unique to Vibes overall. So Chonkeroo, the chase cards of the sketches, just give us a history rundown of what they are.
Sure. So I don't know if you've seen one in person or not. They don't photograph well, I'll give you that. But whenever you see them in person, it's actually really neat. Like I've opened one sketch, It's an extroverted penguin, and the picture of the card is a penguin like disco skating with like a disco ball or something. And on the sketch of it, it like scratches stuff out, and it's like add disco ball here, add floor gloss here, and it like is a communication between the person, the art director, and the person actually doing the art, which is like, I don't know, a little Easter egg or nod to everyone who cares about that process. So I think that portion of it was extremely well done in terms of making something that the community will want. Also, there's only 10 of every sketch that was printed. That is a 1 of 10 in his hand.
Yep, and they got really smart with the Legend of the Littles, and they actually numbered them. I think that's that.
Yep.
You know, the other thing that they're really good about is learning and making each set better, right? And I think the fact that with set 2 Legend of the Littles, they added a new foil, the Arctic Hollow foil, right? And then they also added where they numbered the sketches, where, you know, it's still out of 10, but my original one doesn't say out of 10. So if you're not familiar and you don't know that well, you don't know it's out of 10. So they're always willing to like make changes for the better when it comes to like set 2, and now we have set 3 with the Moonbirds coming out.
Actually, listen, a little bit of a segue. So when we talk about the newest set, and I need to go grab some of the images regarding it, but what's your take on like the pace of them releasing? Because I think for myself, when I was really into Magic the Gathering, it was like, okay, I love buying the set, it's great. And then it's like, oh, this ends up being kind of expensive, but it feels like it's been a little bit since Vibes had its last release.
It has been a while. So if you're comparing it to Magic now versus Magic 10 plus years ago. So Magic used to be released in blocks. So you'd get like a set functionally every quarter or so. And that was digestible for players. But I swear, with Magic, every time you turn around and say, look at this new special thing. And if everything you do is special, nothing you do is special. And I think that they have just overdone it. Now with Vibes, I think that they are hitting some logistical challenges that have stopped them from releasing things sooner than they would like. And that's just a product of it being a new game, right? So I don't want to judge them and be like, oh, this is, because I think that they originally wanted this to launch in Q1. And I think it was delayed. There's not really, I don't have a good answer or response to what their cadence is or is going to be, but I think that the game doesn't have enough players to solve a format. So that's what actually should dictate whether or not a set is released. If a format is air quotes solved, if everyone knows all the decks, knows what's played, and they get bored with the format. And so according to one of the questions that I asked the developers or the game designers whenever I went to Worlds and got to meet them was, are there decks that you guys know of that we haven't found yet? And the guy was like, absolutely. He was like, not even question. He's like, yeah. I was like, well, why don't you tell us? He's like, we don't want to break the format. We're afraid of doing that. And so I think this lack of players and the lack of creative minds in the game is keeping the formats from being solved too quickly. So a slower set release is actually fine.
Would you say that's why Pokemon has to release a set every month and a half? Because there's so many players, so many genius players that like they have to keep introducing new cards to the playable format, because they don't retire sets every single month and a half that they release sets, right? They retire in waves, but they release every month and a half and release new cards that may be like playable and replace other cards. So do you think that that's part of the reason why Pokemon, you know, being a TCG at its heart, like releases so often, other than making tons of money?
I think that that's a valid reason, but I think the money thing's bigger. I think that with WotC, Hasbro, Pokemon, all those games have shareholders to answer to, and Vibes doesn't. They get to actually continue to make the core of the game the way they want it to, and the cadence that they want it to, and they don't have shareholders breathing down their necks.
That's spicy. And yo, Cautionfun, what's going on? Chonkeroo mentioned you earlier, so I thought I'd send you the link to join up right beforehand. So Chonkeroo will ask another question in a second. But Caution, thanks for joining. Anything to add of what Chonkeroo said so far?
No, I think he's made great points.
It's just home runs all around. Yo, I love it. Yeah. So, I mean, let's ask straight up, though. Chonkeroo, on the final question here, when you're looking at this burb, and Pengu. What's your instant reaction? Do you like it? Do you think that it's different? Obviously, there's a big kind of, for anybody that doesn't know, behind the scenes that Vibes and Orange Cap Games, the parent company, did end up acquiring Moonbird. So there's a little bit of IP change on that. So I think that's one of the reasons this is here. But what's your take on it, Chonker?
I think that the first 2 sets highlighted what I've been saying the whole time about it being alpha, where you're basically just playing with Shivan Dragons. And this just opens up so many new doors, so many new waves. The art is phenomenal, obviously. For people who don't play the game, the way you win is having 15 items on the board and untapping and winning a vibe check, etc. Pengu is now an instant speed penguin, which you couldn't play before. So if you've never played, it completely changes the dynamic of stuff, which I think it is incredibly busted. And so I am so excited with the direction that they're taking it. The people on the creative side are so creative. I can't say enough good things about the game.
Yo, amazing. Chonkeroo, thank you so much for coming through. I feel like you brought
Thank you so much for having me.
Unbelievable amount of insights, and we'll definitely have you on again sometime soon.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, we'll talk soon. All right, Cautionfun. Listen, not to put any pressure on you, but now you're gonna have to follow up Chonkeroo here. So if I can ask you, because I asked him as well, what would be your 45-second elevator pitch to kind of describe what Vibes TCG is?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chonker did an excellent job. Big shoes to fill, but yeah, I would say it's a really accessible TCG. If you have any previous TCG experience, it should be a pretty easy transition for you, but it's surprisingly deep. The iceberg runs deep, as we say, and it's the very definition of like easy to learn, difficult to master.
And how did you end up finding it? Were you coming from other trading card games? Was this one happen to be your first?
So I'm more of a crypto native than a TCG native, though I have played trading card games since 5-6 years old with Pokemon there. So when I heard about OCAP games and the Vibes TCG, it's just such a perfect intersection of my interests. I felt compelled to try it out, and I ended up going to a Learn to Play event prior to the game's release up in New York City at OCAP game headquarters there, and yeah, I just went with a couple of my buddies. We played for 2-3 hours first sit down, just yellow and green starter decks, and had such a good time. I was instantly hooked, and just been competing ever since.
Yo, amazing. Donnie, listen, so we're going from Chonkeroo over to Cautionfun. We've got the double dip of Vibes TCG. I mean, before we got on here, you messaged me because I actually didn't even know, and you were like, yeah, like I'm fairly familiar with Vibes. So after hearing what Chonkeroo's had to say and now going into Caution, is there anything that's been like on your mind or things that you've taken away this far?
No, I think he's just hyping me up that I need to go buy more Vibes collectibles. I'm not even kidding. I think that, and I'm not gonna lie, I do not know how to play the Vibes game. I have never played the Vibes game. So when I approach this, I'm approaching it from the collectible side, right? Cute Penguins is obviously really, really big for me. I think that, one of the things about collectibles is it has to appeal to people, right? Where Pokemon appeals to people because it has cute Pokemon. I think Vibes appeals to people because it has really cute penguins, right? I think that if you go look at pudgy penguins and their GIFs and stuff like that online, like we're talking like billions of GIF uses, right? Like it's absolutely crazy. So they've obviously have something from the IP side. And when it comes to people are going to hate this, but like when it comes to profiting on investments, right? One of the things you got to do is you got to get into things early, right? Coming from the NFT space, again, people are going to hate that too, but being early was like the big goal with all of these projects, right? Is you want to be in these projects early, because if they take off, your entry is way, way lower than other people's entries, right? And so if you believe in Vibes, and you believe in Vibes as an IP and Vibes as a game and Vibes as a collectible, this is your chance to buy these cards, these low pop grails cards for cheaper, right? And look, they could go completely down the tank, right? Like that's completely an option, right? But if you believe in the game, if you believe in the IP, then why not make a bet on a couple sealed boxes? Why not make a bet on some promos that are exclusive and, actually like go in on something you believe in? And so Yeah, long story short, I think he has just made me even more bullish. Like hearing that a Magic player is like really in on this and it hasn't been solved. Because if I know thing about TCG people is they take that as a challenge. They're like, oh, he just said it hasn't been solved. All right, let's go. Let's solve this thing, right? Because TCG players are some of the absolute smartest people I've ever met. Like they talk over me, right? When it comes to like game theory and deck building and things like that. So that's where I think that like if it hasn't been solved, I know there are people out there, caution, you may be one of them that's like, let's solve this damn thing.
Doing my best every single day,
Love it. Love it.
Well, what do you think about the collectability, though, on that side? Because, I mean, I think that there is going to be the arguments for everything, right? Of people going in and saying, okay, I'm going to commit to a TCG, and which one do I go to? But also, it's like, all right, which ones potentially do we think has the highest ceiling over a time frame? So why are you somebody that's really, dedicated time to Vibes itself?
Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, the game is super fun. Like I said, my buddies and I were hooked from the first sit down. And, as Chonker alluded to, we're still exploring. We only have 2 sets out. It's like 351 total cards. And I'm still seeing new decks pop up every single day. We have a new set coming right around the corner. So, yeah, it's an exciting time to be a player. And like Donnie was saying there, I think they've also done an excellent job catering to the collectors. And, because being an NFT native IP, you're going to have people that are purely there to collect the pudgy penguins. So you have to service those folks. And, you don't want to run into a situation like Pokemon is in right now, where, the collector wave has kind of overwhelmed the player wave. So, you have players that are just trying to get the new cards from the latest sets, but they can't find any in like the big box stores even because, they're being scalped. So you kind of, it's a balance, right? You have to strike between catering to the collector side and the player side. And I think they've done a really, really good job allocating resources and, mental bandwidth towards both of those ends.
Well, Luca Netz earlier this year, Donnie, didn't he say, or I mean, not even this year, like a week or two ago, saying something about like, yeah, Vibes expected in like Walmart, Target, Best Buy. Like he was talking about all these big box stores. Caution, what's your take on them trying to go for a more mainstream push? Do you think it's too early to do that? Is there never a time to be quote unquote too early?
No, that's a fair point. And I think, if they had made that push in the previous 2 sets, it may have been too early. You don't want stuff just like sitting on the shelves at Walmart or Target or wherever. You want that, you want that demand there when it gets in the door. That said, I think it's like now is the perfect time. The first year I feel they really dedicated to like, making sure the foundations are there. We have a pretty dedicated in-person player base. We have a small but dedicated digital player base. And, now is the time, I think, to focus on expanding those player bases. And part of that is making sure if somebody wants to play the game, they have access to product so they can play it with their buddies. And I know they launched just recently, they're calling it the Vibe Masters program, where they're recruiting folks like me and my buddies to go to our local game stores and host learn to play events, get that organic, grassroots type movement, because you need that undercurrent. You can't just cater to the collectors and sell out, the set to people who are just going to hoard the boxes. You do need that player base to make sure the game has, some amount of longevity, right?
100%. Sorry, I just realized on my side the chat was absolutely flying earlier, and I completely ignored all of that. So, Boshi, I don't know if you're still here. Well, what's up? Make it train. Hello, yo, Jeremy. Mount Doji. Hello. Eton, what's going on? And Rory. Yo. Again, sorry guys, it repopulated in my stream, and I absolutely waffled it. I don't know if anybody was watching earlier, but we were right in the middle of a segment before we got onto the guests, and then I hit the stop stream button instead of stop sharing my screen. So that was my faux pas of the day, if you will. So, caution. Listen, I gotta wave the caution flag here, because there's one thing regarding Vibes that I'm like, I love the game genuinely, but man, it is really hard to find online players.
Yeah, no, that's super fair. To be fair to them, I know that as a startup, the initial digital client that they put out was kind of just a minimum viable product. You know, you don't want to pour millions of dollars into a digital client and then find out the demand isn't there. That said, I think in year one, they definitely proved the demand. I believe they've made some hires recently on the developer front to kind of build out the client, make sure the functionality is there, build out the, I know they're launching a new economy soon, making it easier for newer players to get access to more cards more quickly, which I think will be a huge boon. I know that was one of the bigger complaints we heard from new digital players was, you know, I want to play so-and-so deck, but I'm having trouble opening the cards that I need and the packs that I have. So they're going to introduce some kind of system to make that process more seamless and streamlined. So, you know, I think once those systems are in place, that's when the marketing will start, and that's when we'll start to see a more, you know, sustainable current of new players.
Donnie, what does Caution have in behind him there? Because I feel like that's a bunch of Pokemon product, but I can't see just right.
I mean, I see some Pokemon back there. Is that like some Japanese 151 or something like that over there too?
Excellent eye. Yeah, there's some Japanese 151 booster boxes for
look,
sure.
I live this life, man.
A bunch of miscellaneous products, and there's some vibes
absolutely.
above there. There.
Look, he's even got some art back there too. Yeah, look, some sealed vibe. Look, on your point of the vibes boxes, yeah, there were what 15,000 first edition boxes. So, and I know a lot of people now are wanting to keep those sealed and things like that. So yeah, I think when you're talking about needing to get cards, it's really good that they're about to make this push into big box stores with these new sets, right? And I guess there's a new card type coming out. But yeah, the cards being available to people is crucial for growth of the game because, you know, you got people like me with 30 plus boxes, you know, there, you got 6 boxes back there. You think about it, I would venture to say a third of the supply of those 15,000 boxes has either already been opened or is in people's closets, right? So there's not that many out there. So I agree with you when it comes to like, if you want to grow the player base after you've shown proof of concept, hey, this is a cool game, people want to play this game, now we need to get supply out there so people can actually play this game.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you know, to the people that bought first edition and Legend of the Lils boxes with the intention of keeping them sealed, like, I think you're pretty safe going forward. The team has a bunch of different paths to reprints that can make those cards more accessible without hurting the collector value of the first edition boxes and stuff. So, you know, I think they played it safely, and I think they played it well.
I think that's the other reason why I'm so bullish is because of Spencer, right? Spencer is number one, a collector, and well, 1A, a player, right? Like he plays and he collects. So he's 100%. The best of both worlds. He understands, let's not reprint the first edition boxes to, you know, 100,000 once we get big and absolutely crater our collector base, you know, and with the promos and stuff like that. Look, Spencer gets how to create value in collectibles, and Spencer also gets that he needs a game that can bring in players and grow a huge player base for them to be successful. So I think Spencer is a lot of the reason why I'm also bullish on Vibes as a collectible and Vibes as a game is kind of, he's both. He's a collector and he is a player.
100%. Yeah. That was apparent, again, that first Learn to Play event that I went to in October 2024. There were 5 or 6 OCG team members there, and it was just abundantly clear all of them love trading card games, like collecting them, playing them, just super clear, which, yeah, like you say, you know, you definitely need that perspective in spades if you're going to be a successful TCG.
Absolutely.
Oh, Caution, talk to me a little bit about the promo cards, because I think Vibes TCG's probably gone harder on promo cards than literally anybody else. And I tried to look on the Vibe site, but I couldn't find any visuals under the card library. But I mean, scrolling through here, they're talking about how this one's a Star City Games exclusive. Collector Crypt, we have Dilly, we have Mattel, we have Sports Card Direct, we have Streamer Network, we have To the Moon, we have San Diego Comic-Con, Star City Games, Consensus, European Championship, eBay Live, we got Token 2049. We got even a Canada exclusive one. Hell yeah. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. And would you believe it if I told you that's not even all of them? Yeah, there's a previous set of promos as well. They partnered with like eBay, like you said, every grading company under the sun. You know, that's Spencer's network runs deep apparently. But yeah, they, like I said, they've done a great job with the promos, I think, with the general distributions at all their IRL events, these different activations with like, hey, buy a box from this distributor and you'll get this promo. Buy a box from this distributor, you'll get this promo. Bringing in people from all of these different platforms and encouraging people to pick up product from multiple platforms. And yeah, like I said, the collector in me, the two things that I'm primarily collecting are wizard-related sketch cards and the promos. Just because, the art team, they knock it out of the park every single time. The companies that they partner with are companies that I'm familiar with. And I think they do an excellent job with it.
Yeah, I even have to give a shout out to my favorite artist, Stupid Penguin. Stupid Penguin is absolutely one of my favorite artists in the Vibes TCG. But man, looking at some of those populations, I own like half the populations of some of those cards, like of the PSA 10 population, like the BZ promo. I don't know how many 10s there are, but I think I own like 10 of them. So I guess I'm gonna have to drip that supply out one day, and maybe Golden will. I know Golden actually had some vibes on one of their past auctions, right? But maybe Golden's gonna have to have a Donnie Slabs, kind of like Logan Paul, a Donnie Slabs vibes, auction block where I just auction off all of my promos that I've just been stockpiling for like the next 5 years. I really like this. Hey, that one right there, the Box GG, right? Look, I got 3 10s of the Box GG one right here.
That's
like
that,
this guy's just literally sitting on everything right there. It's unreal.
I'm telling you, dude. I mean, look, corner in the market, right? These are in high demand. Okay, I'll actually, since you're from the NFT space, Caution, I'll tell you a little quick story that's really, really awesome. And Mount Doji, I'm coming for that promo, okay? What's really, really awesome about this is this Box GG was like an absolute cheat code, right? Because when they first came out, they were selling for like $100 online, and you got it with one box that you redeemed. You got one promo. So I think some of like 10 of these boxes that I have sealed, I sold off the 10 promos to bring my cost down. So I'm in boxes at like $40, right? Like there was so many arbitrage opportunities if you just believed in it to begin with, and you wanted to amass these, promos and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, they know what they're doing. All right. They definitely do.
Agreed, and well played.
Thank you.
And well played, as is well presented, if you will. Caution. Any final things for you, though? If we're talking about Vibes TCG, any final notes for somebody that's maybe watching, thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll jump into it.
Yeah, just try the game out. If you like TCGs, you're gonna love the game. Join the Discord. The community is so kind and so helpful on the aggregate. If you have any questions, just ask in there, and I'm sure somebody will be right with you.
Yo, Caution, you're a legend. Thank you so much for coming on through, and we'll talk to you again very soon, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So listen, the next guest here, I don't want to like overhype by any means, but I'm sitting here having a normal day. I'm having a normal day, and all of a sudden, I'm getting all of these text notifications being like, Nan is the king, the person you want to talk to, the alpha dog. And I'm like, okay, cool. Everybody's letting me know what's going on. So Nan, thank you for coming through. Give us a little bit of lowdown about yourself. It does show that it's muted on your side, so I just want to highlight that as well. But listen, give me the lowdown, because you're a star. What does the star do on a daily basis?
Oh man, well, dude, I'm really flattered by that kind of intro. That's really nice. I mean, for me though, I really am just a guy that plays games. I mean, people are just really nice, I guess, when they talk about me. If that was said, that's way too nice. But I am for me, my background, I've always loved TCG. I've played TCG since probably, I don't know, like first or second grade, where I remember like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In the playground and opening up packs, and pretty much grew up at a comic shop that always hosted local tournaments every week, and I played I would feel like pretty competitively, nationals a few times growing up, and I feel like it's important to highlight something like that, because when just skipping ahead a little bit, when talking about things like Azuki trading card game, I think it's important to know that like there's a lot of people that play this game, that like play other TCGs and very much respect like the game style, the gameplay, the mechanics, the people who make the game. Like it's real. Like it's been really really fun. I am also a guy that's been in Azuki as a community since like the day that it's come out, although a lurker for most of the time. So like that is true, but I have a lot of friends now that I've just known growing up at different places, playing different games. Most recently, it's been One Piece. I mean, I stopped Yu-Gi-Oh! I think when Link Summons came out, and then just moved around beat bopping at like Magic and Hearthstone when just random stuff. But One Piece has been so much fun, and I just literally am so out of the meta with One Piece right now because I kind of can't stop playing Azuki, and it's for me it's really really fun because like when I compare it to stuff I know, I think about like every card game I've gone and played. You the first thing you do is like you're going to Limitless or you're like going to go check like the community Discord for data on simulator matchups and win rates. And Azuki doesn't really have that because it's brand new. So a lot of the draw for me is that you're like in the trenches, like building stuff that no one's really tried before, and kind of like developing the meta and being the person to put your name on like, hey man, I found this combo. This is actually really cool. And there's a lot of fulfillment at the deck building level. And for me, I've never experienced something like that in any other kind of card game. Like I thought I was a deck builder, but really I was a copy paster that changes two tech cards, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got the next great thing, you know. But
Oh, so is that why you're a legend? Because you're helping everybody else understand what the meta is and everything? Ah, see, I'm figuring it out now.
well, I do love to help people learn, but I'll say, man, the people that come and play, like they're gamers. Like even the people that were like brand new, like they're people are competent. We have like online tournaments like twice a week, which I think is really cool to highlight for something like this because um, for people that aren't familiar, Lizuki is like an LA-based company, and a lot of stuff that they do has been centralized to LA at a company level. But there's been real efforts, and like there's gonna be real distribution like nationwide at a lot of places. And I think the way that they are handling, observing like the demand and that LGS distribution is also like quite fascinating. I don't really see that either. Like LGSs are able to see like, oh wow, people are buying this. I can buy this and know that the demand is already there, kind of thing. And that you don't usually get that a lot of the times. But
Well, the pre-release is interesting too. Like that's just coming out. Like I mean, so Donnie, when you told me, okay, yeah, like I'm familiar with vibes. I don't think we actually talked. How familiar are you with the Azuki TCG? And then I'll give a little bit, and then we'll have Nan kind of give a proper breakdown.
Brother, I mean, I am not familiar with it at all. Like, could not tell you anything.
This is why Nan's here, okay?
All I know is the NFTs. That's literally the only thing of Azuki I know. So, like, talk to me like I'm a little child. Right?
Okay. So here's my perspective. So Azuki is something that had a very large following for a while, right? And then they jumped into the trading card space, and immediately I'm like, oh my God, they have the former Overwatch art director? What? That is like the coolest friggin' thing. And then I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people within the Azuki community that are really well known, really passionate. I'm like, okay, so we have a strong community. We have somebody, personally, Overwatch is probably like my favorite game of all time. So I think that aspect is really, really neat with it. But at first glance, you know, people aren't going to realize, hey, this is a massive community. Hey, you have somebody that is a serious accolades amongst them. So, I mean, Nan, you've heard Donnie say he's got nothing. I'm saying I know the art guy, and that's about it.
Well, that's valid context. I appreciate that, and fair enough. It's I think both of those are very relevant to the draw of Azuki as a trading card game, and I feel like that's a bit risky to say at first because honestly, like people and fair enough, like when people understand something to be NFT associated, they like don't want anything to do with it. I heard you guys were kind of talking about that with vibes, and that's fair. Like it's hard to onboard someone onto a cool product having nothing to do with something that they might not like just because of what brand might be tied to it. Like that is real. But like the reason why I am so passionate about Azuki is because it is so independent, and I'm sure Vibes is too. But like Azuki is so independent about their like what makes the TCG work and stuff. And the reason why I think the NFT is like a value add to the people that don't really understand in terms of like how they can understand what the draw of Azuki is the art is like a slam dunk. Like it's it's so good. Like just like you said, like Steam Boy is S plus tier in my book and always has been. That dude really makes magic, and he is like directly responsible for like a good number of like the chase cards that people really want in Azuki. So I think for the people that don't even care about like playing games, but they care about collecting, like that is a real. I feel like that's a real like data point to understand that this is like really good. Like Mizuki, for example, yeah, like Mizuki is so like that's such a good card. I think like the art is just really good there. I
I'm
don't know if
into
it's
her art too. I'm really into this chick. She's got fantastic art. It's crazy.
It's great, and the yeah, and I think there's like one of my favorite ones isn't even I don't even think it's on the gallery yet, but it's that portrait Xiao that's like on their main website. That's going to be like one of the main chases going into set one as well as the portrait zero. But that's why I think it's in terms of trying to understand the breakdown, like you've got really beautiful art here on cards just from like a collectability standpoint that really goes a while. Like it goes the distance for people when they're looking at this kind of thing. Like Miharu, oh, I thought that was so good. Like part of me wanted that to be like a serialized card, which is another thing that I think is a draw to the collector side of this is that the person who's making this game is like a direct creator of this is JCM, who is like top talent in One Piece competitively. Like he's one of the world's best players, and he's the most humble person ever. When people try to talk about that, but the truth is he is like very good, and he understands what makes a meta good, how cards interact, like what should be done, what could be fun, and what makes the players want to play. And it's that kind of collectability. It's like having these different kind of things you can hit on a pack that like make people want to really enjoy the art that's on them. And doubling down on that, like for the TCG side, like the people who, you know, also probably still like collecting, but like playing, Azuki's a card game that like the person who made it is like inspired heavily from One Piece, which is known for like world class prize support. You know, Yu-Gi-Oh would give you like a Nintendo Wii if you won a major event, but like One Piece, you're walking out with like nice high mid five figs for like probably for winning something just in prize support. And so like Azuki takes a lot of understanding in what makes the players want to play the game. And so like just in the few amount of events that they've had so far, like the price support is just like utterly insane. Like it's like they've done uncut sheets, they've done like $10,000 cash tournament, like top 8 stamp cards that are completely exclusive to that tournament, which is just super cool. But I feel like I feel like it's just a really nice, refreshing game that, and when I, all this comparing to things like One Piece, I think it's relevant to understand that like people who do actually play TCG, they'll feel like it's an easy time to get into it because there's a lot of draw from like what makes other TCGs work, like One Piece. But at the same time, Zuki is so new in this gate mechanic that they have that I don't think I've really seen before or something like it in other card games. And that to me is just really cool. Where it's like if you look at Bandai or whatever, like they've got more card games than I can count, and they probably all function very similarly to each other. So in a world where TCG is kind of like one way to play it now, this modern way of playing TCG, it's really cool. It's very refreshing.
Well, okay, so I'm trying to fully grasp what's going on here because we have a pre-sale that's going on. It's over in like 2 days, 18 hours, if I'm looking at that correctly. There's been 992,000 raised, and going to the social component of things, one thing that I've noticed is that there was so much negativity from people of, oh my God, Azuki didn't hit this milestone, they didn't do this or that. But I mean, hello, are we looking at the same numbers on the screen here? Getting $1 million is not bad.
Azuki ships great products. They always have. That's like the one thing I don't think anybody, even the biggest Azuki hater, could argue against is like they make dope products, and they really know how to ship something that's like a really nice experience on opening. So yeah, I don't know. It's funny that to think about because you're right. Like, and that's a lot of the like you've got people from crypto side that are gonna like their prime directive is to talk negativity about Azuki for whatever reason that they might have that's valid to them. And then you've got the TCG people that the second they understand something's NFT oriented within the company, they might have the same exact reactions as like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But like for the people who actually want to like read between the lines and actually look at this game for and understand it, like it is a standalone thing that you really don't have to care about anything Web3 related. You don't have to know what a wallet is. You don't have to have a token. You don't even have to know what Azuki's done before this. And this could be like the main squeeze in your card game experience. It has that kind of, it's not dependent, but at the same time, like what we're talking about, some things in here are like directly related to the tokens that they've had before. So, you know, like they understand the mechanisms of collecting, right? Like you've got people that like you don't want to punish the person that doesn't care about crypto. You want that person to play the game. You want them to understand like, hey, this was made for you. Like, but at the same time, you know, people who want to then really collect on that next step, there's all these avenues that Azuki does, and they're really good at the art of it and how it looks and shipping those products.
So, Nan, I got one more thing before we have to bring up Doyle on here. And I was thinking about it. No, you're good. I've already messaged him. We're good. We're vibing. I love that you're so passionate about this. Because again, we walked into this saying we have no idea. So the idea of you talking is kind of the idea, if you know what I mean.
Got you.
But so one thing that I'm confused about to an extent, because so we had Vibes come out and they've done like the full releases to whatever stores they could get into, and they've had various competitive events. And then for Azuki, this feels like it's the main release for it, but they've already had these tournaments, player bases, and this connection. And I'm just trying to think, like, how did you get that many people before like the product like fully released in a public stance? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And to be the most transparent answer is like they have like motion in LA, and JCM the creator has motion, and so there are people that can be like they can ask to play the game if they really wanted to, but the real reason why these people are playing this game is because we have a way to play it in terms of the online Discord, and we have a way to actually try it. And like I said, JCM's so oriented about the player side that before this is even shipped, like he's talking about how to print proxies. Like let's like understand like what makes this work, because he wants the cards to be correct and he wants everything to be right when everything is being shipped. So like but we want to play the game, you know, we want to understand how to play it. And so throughout its release, it's been this thing where they've had these little mini events that at their like own event or whatever, where they have like a mini tournament. And so there might be, you might see where that's happened before, but at the same time, like I think the picture you just had on the website with the invitational, like by that point in time, we had already had an online Discord that we host these events at, and people are playing like every week. And like I flew out to LA to go play because it just like the game means that much to me. I know a bunch of other people did as well. So there's a lot of people that really, once you play the game, they want to keep actually playing it. And so I said what I said about the LA bit because that's usually what people would think when they understand who's making it and what's going on. But like actually just yesterday we had an online tournament and there were more people in it than what my last One Piece locals had, which I was just like, that's kind of crazy. Like these people are coming online and playing, and it's a real reason to actually care about the game if you're not in LA. So it's not just centralized to that. But yeah, it's a great question, and the truth is that people just really want to play the game, and we have the resources to do it. A lot of the people in the community just want to really help enable that too. So people have built tools to make the proxies, like look at the Azuki card gallery, like really easy tools like you would find in other trading card games to like make proxies, make deck lists, share deck lists with people, and it's just been magnificent. So, I mean, I'm sorry that I went over so much.
No, listen, you lived up to the expectation. We knew it was a legend, and we made sure that we got the insights about all of it. And I'd love to have you on again sometime soon, if you're open to that, as I actually venture out for. So final thing, when can we expect some kind of an online client?
So an online client, transparently, I don't know what Azuki's plans is for that when they will release that, but I do also know like right now there is a sim that does work for Azuki. It's just it's a manual sim. Like for people who hear sims, like they can think of like how the One Piece sim works. It's automatic, or like something that we're used to back in the day that you just kind of manually do it, but it exists and it's actually really clean. And so like for people who like I don't want to do a camera and cards to play online, I just want to play sim, like we're actually playing on sim on these tournaments now. And so we have it exist, and it'd be nice if we had an automatic one, but at the same time, like it's really great that we can have this one, because the amount of lift I would imagine to get like an automatic one would be really high. So like the community is just really coming together to build these tools.
Amazing. All right. Well, Nan, pleasure to meet you. I'll send you a message here in a little bit, but thank you so much for jumping on in. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thanks for having me, man. Y'all guys have a great night.
Yeah, you as well. You as well. Donnie, are we alive over there, good sir? Are we alive? How are we feeling?
Oh, how mad do you think people are that I ripped this card?
Dude, when you did that, that was probably the funniest thing that I think is ever going to happen on one of these streams.
Look at the orange. Like, you can see it. Look in the light. You can see the orange paper. It's so dope. I mean, dude, yeah. I'm glad I didn't like rip a hollow foil or something like that. Like, could you imagine if I just like took this hollow foil and just like ripped it? Like,
yeah, let's not do that. But guys, as we're starting to wrap up here again, the stream is presented by Sync. So if you happen to go to a card show, which you might actually find Donnie at, this man is a vendor at the shows. Go up, be like, yo, I've watched the show. And if he doesn't give you a discount, you know what you do? You give him a straight red card right away. Unbelievable. But again, a huge shout out to Sync for that. If you guys scan the QR code, you'll be able to keep an eye on what your physical card collection portfolio value is, on top of being able to scan cards at shows. Right now, it's only available on iOS, but Android is coming on that. I've sent the link over to Doyle. He's going to be coming on. We were going to talk a little bit about Magic, but I woke up today and he changed his profile picture to a Vibes TCG card. So talking about a committed bit.
Okay. Look, I'm telling you, I actually real quick, I started putting some of my sealed collection in Synced. Oh my God, up and to the right. We are like literally like a crazy, yeah, up and to the right. And it's not even all in there yet. Like we are climbing Mount Everest right now with what the sealed collection is doing right now.
So for sealed specifically. Okay, interesting. Listen, Dennis, are we heavy on the sealed product for TCGs? Listen, we're gonna get in all about you, but let's keep the train rolling here. What do you got?
Oh shit, yeah. So right now, Vibes, man, I'm huge on the ETH boxes. Like, I picked up some for 209. Like, geez, like it's. Right now is the time to get in there. Like, I can't get a Bunkus for under $100. I can't even get one for $100. Like, Bashfuls, they were like 50. Like, the boxes, you could just open them up and straight sell the singles for more than the cards are. Like, the cards are just so hard to get right now.
Well, Dennis, like, I saw something right before here, though. Well, somebody was trying to buy the sketch cards for $500. Do you think like that's like an average price for the sketch cards, or what's the thought here?
To me, actually, my opinion is the sketch cards, if they're not playable cards, that they're not going to have a high value. Since the sketches are all 1 of 10s, like it doesn't matter if it's epic, rare, common. Like, just the cards that are going to be played are going to have the value. So like a layer lasagna will be like $1,000, but like an epic random, like, you know, junk card's going to be like $200 in my opinion. So I think people have it all wrong on those. Like, the cards that are actually playable in decks are what you want, not these random high rarity ones, because they're all 1 of 10s anyway.
Okay, what's gonna piss people off more? Donnie Slabs ripping the Vibes, or Dennis saying, "Yo, the sketch cards are not as much as
the sketch cards that are playable will have a huge value."
Okay.
But I mean, collectability wise, it's, to me, like, you know how you have bulk rares in Magic the Gathering? Like, it's kind of like that. If you get something that you can't play in a deck, it's not going to have the value, in my opinion.
All right, fair enough. Donnie, any thoughts on the hot take of the unplayable cards not necessarily holding up as well as ones that are playable?
Well, I mean, I think I disagree a little bit, because I'm looking for long-term collectability, and when these cards are out of competitive rotation and aren't able to be played anymore, you know, people are just basically going to be going for that rarity of that sketch card.
Yeah, and if you're looking like 10 years down the road.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. And so, I mean, I guess that does make sense. Is right now it's hard to get certain cards, especially out of the the first set.
Yeah, it's supply and demand. People want the cards you can use. But I got in Magic, like I got in Revised and Magic the Gathering. Like, I ripped dual lands. Like, I was way back in the day. I opened first edition Pokemon stuff. Like, I've kind of seen like the ebbs and flows of things. It's just the cards that are playable are going to hold the value, and the cards that, I mean, even look at those games. Like, go back to Magic the Gathering beta cards. Cards that aren't playable have no value. Like the cards that are playable.
Well,
value.
so if I can jump on that train of thought, because this is a question I was going to ask a little bit later, but we're going to segue because it's a good time right now, is we saw a post that went semi-viral from somebody that was basically saying Magic cards don't have their value. They're not going to have any value down the line, yada, 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 yada. What does Dennis Doyle feel about that? Is that a hot take from them, or do you think that they're going to hold their value?
I think they always hold the value because right now, actually, I'm 45. In my area, we play the older formats. Like people are playing EDH, people are playing, Commander, people are playing Legacy. Like people are playing the old formats where they can use their dual lands. Like in my community, that's what we do because we're all the same age and we grew up playing the games together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell us a little bit of history about yourself, because I know that you played Magic for like a bajillion years.
Yeah,
You've done quite well in some competitive settings. Yeah. Give us a lowdown.
Yeah. So me right now, I usually get top 1,000 Magic the Gathering Arena. I haven't had a lot of time to go to personal events because I've been in a physical rehabilitation center. I haven't been able to go out, but I just coached 2 people to top 8s in the last 2 SCG Vibes tournaments. So
Yeah. Okay.
I look forward to going to one myself, and hopefully I'll be in the top 8. I mean, it's optimistic, but I think I can do it.
So when we look at all these different trading cards that are out there right now, and people are having the conversations of, okay, which ones do we get into? Which would be kind of your top 2 right now from a gameplay?
Right now, like I know an old dealer, the old Pokemon, like I'm talking first, second edition unlimited. Like I know a dealer I can get second edition unlimited Charizards from. Like that stuff I think is hot right now. And I'm really high on Vibes. It's just so low right now. Like the cost of the boxes for the original first set, like the ETH, I think, like the little stuff, I'm not that high on that, but the ETH boxes, I mean, especially the cases where you're guaranteed a sketch, I think they have huge value.
Well, that's what Donnie was going on after the Chonkeroo segment earlier, being like, listen, that might be the alpha to be able to snag. But I want to go to the Magic the Gathering discussion for a second, because with I guess like notion just around it is some doubts regarding it, but how do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's in a growth stage? Has it plateaued? Is it a slow decline? Because again, from that comment earlier, people were commenting back saying, no, this guy's completely wrong and Magic's growing.
So like right now, me and my age group that played when I was 14, we play different formats. But there's also new players that'll play, they'll draft, they'll play, standard. So it's hitting all the age groups. So you'll have, people 16 to 25 playing standard. You'll have people, maybe 25 to 35 drafting. You'll have people like me, 45 and older, playing modern and EDH and Commander. So you're hitting all the age groups. So I think that's the big thing with Magic. You're not just hitting a certain demographic.
Okay, that's interesting. Donnie, you told me that you're not really like that familiar with Magic the Gathering. Have you played it before? I don't actually know.
Absolutely not. No.
You haven't played it. Okay, how come? How come? Out of curiosity.
Man, I don't have the brain power to play all these TCGs and things like that. Like, look, I just learned how to play Pokemon like 2 years ago, right? So when it comes to that, it's just I only have so much room in my brain, and right now TCG market values of Pokemon is what takes up most of that room in my brain
it's
right
so
now.
hot right now.
Plus just the time it takes to learn that. I don't have that much time, man. I got a full-time job still.
Well, I'm lucky right now. I never had time in my life. Right now, I got all the time in the world. So
love it.
It's awesome for me. So I can actually, so that's kind of the thing that I want to say about Vibes too. So that's kind of the crazy thing. So it's got kind of the collectability of like a Pokemon. It's got like the cute, but it's got the Moonbirds. You got your Pudgy Penguins, but it's got the actual brain power of Magic the Gathering. Like it's a legit game. It's not like I don't want to diss Pokemon, but Pokemon's not on the same level intellectually as a game like Vibes. It's
so okay, for argument's sake, because I can imagine somebody would be watching that being like, hold on, we're gonna red card it as we've done 100 times today for different things. But let's argue that for a second. Why do you feel so passionate that Vibes could end up competing on the Pokemon level? Because people are going to say, okay, hold on. You can believe whatever you want, but like give some extra like rationales or reasons of why particularly. Do you think more the team, the execution that you've seen, the gameplay itself? Do you think like that much weight should be put into it?
Yeah, I think like the team's there, the execution's there. They're with SCG 10Ks, like they're on it. And the main thing is you need the game. Without the game, the rest falls apart. If the game sucks, the other stuff doesn't matter. So it has the game to hold up to the rest. So like if you had just a shitty game, like and all the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. But you have the game that is that good, like everything else will come into place, I think.
Spicy. I like it. Okay, respectable. Respectable. Donnie, what card games, if you're going to go off the top of your head, that you know how to play? Because you just told me you learned how to play Pokemon, but you've been a vendor for quite a while. So that I'm like, I want to throw out the red cards again, but I'm going to hold off. So what TCGs do you know how to play, or is it strictly just Pokemon?
Man, you know, like Uno, like I'm really good at Uno. Like Connect Four, shoots and ladders, I am an expert level on. No, dude, I mean, look, I'm a collectibles guy through and through, right? And so when it comes to like playing TCGs, like I didn't grow up like playing TCGs, right? I grew up trading the Pokemon cards, like for cool, like I like this cool card, you like this cool card, like we're gonna trade cards because I want to have a binder full of cool cards, right?
That's actually how I get into Magic. I'm actually have a sports card background too, so I've been collecting sports cards all along as well. So I kind of got I don't know if you use What's Not, but you can use What's Not and DYLI. Like you can do some work.
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean,
you could probably tell me better. Like I don't know. I'd love to like get your thoughts on the aspect of the collecting part. I'm just getting into that recently, but I definitely love to talk to you sometime.
Yeah, the collectability is like what I'm in it for, is the collectability, right? And I am just through and through a collector, from like cause figures to art to like, you know, memorabilia. Like I can't help myself but collect cool stuff, right? And so when it comes to like knowing games, I don't know how to play many TCGs. Like just
you don't have to. You don't need to.
Yeah, I mean, and it takes a lot of brain power to learn some of these TCGs and to be good at it, because I also don't want to be trash. Like I don't want to learn a TCG and be trash. I have this like thing in my head.
I don't want to get beat at the store.
I gotta be like, I gotta be. If I'm gonna be bad, I don't want to play.
So. Yeah, then that just takes a lot of brain power and a lot.
Yeah, but I played like everything. Like I even play like Hearthstone.
Well, give us a list. Give us a list. Hold on. Give us a list of all the ones you can think. Feel free to take a second here.
I play Magic the Gathering. I play Gods Unchained. It's a Web3 game. I used to play Pokemon back in the day. I actually played Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, Vibes, like Hearthstone. Like I've played.
Can we fill the double hand fill? That's crazy. And I mean, do you feel like that it's easy coming across? Like, what's the best way to learn a new TCG?
They have a lot of certain things in common. Like, they all have like card advantage aspects. They all have like, there's an old guide called Who's the Beatdown. Like, there's going to be a player that's going to be the aggressive deck. The other one's going to be the control deck. There's just certain aspects that are the exact same in all the games.
What's one thing, and this is a question for both of you, so think about it for a second, but what do you think, or what card game has one of the coolest promos and or aspects of it? So to pause for a second, we have where Vibes has the sketch cards and they have the promo cards. We have Magic the Gathering where they've done the promo cards that are like in a box that you can only get specifically from that. But also they used to do the stamped promos at pre-releases, which I love. And apparently they've stopped. So I'm tweaking out over that. But I'm trying to think of other examples, but can you think of certain cards, games, or whatever that you really like?
I'd say Magic the Gathering, because I played tournaments when I was younger. Like they gave away like participation, like promos. Like some of them are worth a ton of money now. And like you had like Foil Wastelands they gave away like back in the day for like just participation that are like a lot of money. Like a lot of them are, even like back when I was 15, you got like those cool art lands from like way back in the day, or they had like a cool counter spell, Fireball, things like that. So I mean, every step of the way for Magic, and like the One Ring, just look at that for example. I mean, I don't think you can really top that.
Oh, well, the Post Malone effect. Donnie, are you just going to say Vibes, or what are we thinking for the promo?
I mean, obviously, I'm going to say Pokemon, but I'm going to specifically say Japanese Pokemon, right? Because Japanese has some of the coolest Pokemon promos. Specifically, the ones I like are the ones from the Pokemon centers. You know, whether they open a new center or they hold an event at a center, it's a stamped promo in the corner with some of the they're all Pikachus, right? Like that's the other thing, is like they're predominantly all Pikachus when it comes to like the stamp promos from these centers. And so, yeah, I just think no one does it better than Pokemon when it comes to Pikachu promo cards, but specifically Japan over English Pokemon. Japan just like laps English Pokemon when it comes to promos.
Yeah, I don't have any experience with that, so I can't really counter that.
I'm bringing up a photo. Sorry, squeeze me for 1 second. Why does this card not have any near as much hype as the previous Van Gogh?
Because it's a jumbo. Because it's a jumbo card.
Okay, explain that for anybody that doesn't know. Just
Okay,
it's a
so
big,
like-
it's a bigger card, right?
So yeah. So like I don't have sadly I own like 75 of those. So if anybody wants to buy me out of them, I'm totally willing to do that. But so like let's take like your normal card, right? And then like so this is a jumbo sports card, right? So this jumbo sports card is like 3 times the size of the normal card.
Is that CD Lamb? I hit the Cowboys.
yeah.
Get that out of here.
Yeah, it's a CD Lamb promo card. But yeah, so like jumbo cards are just not anywhere near as collectible when it comes to like collectors wanting those.
Yeah, actually,
So-
I had they had like Scry magazine had like big black lotuses back in the day. Like,
Yep,
when I was,
for
like,
sure.
20.
But see, this guy right here, this guy's not a jumbo. So I firmly believe if that Fossil Museum promo was a normal size card, it would be going absolutely crazy. But since it's
You
a jumbo,
think so? See, I thought it was just a difference without the art. I didn't even realize that it was a bigger one.
people just don't like jumbos as much, man. They just really don't.
Yeah, it makes sense. So I don't like them either. I'd rather have the regular card.
I mean, they're hard to collect. They're big and bulky,
Yeah, just to
and like
store
most
'em,
people
like, how
don't
you
have
gonna
binders
store
for them. And yeah.
Yo, this has been a friggin' wild stream, by the way. So, Donnie, we're gonna do one more segment before we wrap things up. Dennis, this has been amazing. It was so nice chatting with you.
Yeah,
I'd love to have
if
you
guys
on
ever
again
want me
sometime
back,
soon.
I'd be down for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Donnie, if you ever want to get in touch with me, maybe talk about some stuff. I mean, I might be able to, get some cards to sell you, or the other way around, or you could enlighten me on some things.
Love it, absolutely.
Yo,
nice meeting
hell
you.
yeah. Dennis, thank you so much. Appreciate you. We'll talk
All right, there you
soon.
go.
Yo, Donnie, listen, today has been like unreal. Like, I feel like it's been so solid. Getting all the different guests, getting the perspectives. He's sitting there like, they're pumping my bags. That's exactly what I was hoping from this.
They're telling me what I want to hear. No, I mean, look, I knew this was going to be good because, like I said, I mean, in terms of like collectability, right? Pokemon's number 1 for me, but I have a very large bag of vibes, right? And like I said, I believe in Spencer, right? So Spencer is one of the, in my opinion, one of the like genius level guys. Like sometimes he says things, and I'm like, I don't understand this because I'm not smart enough, right? But I believe that having someone at the helm of a company that is both a player and a collectibles collector can only be positive, right? And I think that he's already shown what he can do when it comes to like building a brand. So I think OCAP Games, look, I don't have a ton of money. I'd love a slice of OCAP Games, even if it's like literally just like the crumbs, because I'm a big believer in what they're doing over there. So just coming on and hearing from the side of that brand that I don't deal with, which is the players, right? Hearing how pumped they are and hearing how they're Magic players that are trying to solve this game. And, if you look at both of them that came on that were like went to competitive events and stuff like that, we're like, yo, the number one thing is this is a fun game. Right? Like I went to this event to play Magic, and my buddy was like, yo, why don't you play Vibes? And I was like hooked because of how fun it is. Right. And so I think that that's really important when it comes to like building a brand, is like a fun game, great collectability, an awesome IP. Like it kind of has all of those ingredients that it needs to be successful. So I think long term, obviously I've loaded my bags and will continue to load my bags. I'm, obviously a big graded guy. That's why I'm grading a lot. I think, not to let out, I think I have like 80 cards at grading from Vibes itself. So I mean, I'm a big believer in Spencer and the team over there, even though, and I apologize for ripping your card. I just wanted to
The
show
funniest.
how cool it is that you have this special paper. So please, Spencer, I'm sorry for ripping it. I'm trying, I'll put it back together with tape and keep it in the back.
So question on this front, because you just made me think of it. You're going on and on and on about Spencer.
Yeah.
For the Azuki TCG, obviously Zagabond is a big public figure on that front. And I brought up as well that Azuki community in general has a lot of notable figures. How imperative do you think it is nowadays to have the TCG founder in a public setting? Because if you were going to ask me, these other popular games, I don't know who's in charge of Pokemon. I don't know who's in charge of Magic the Gathering. And obviously, there's people out there that'll be like, "Oh, okay, you're an idiot." Or, oh, hold on, I saw the guy the other day. He posted an article on Tumblr. I forget his name. So you can
Tumblr?
red card me. Yeah, they posted a Magic the Gathering teaser on Tumblr.
Tumblr.
Unreal.
Bro, what?
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
I don't
again.
know. Yeah, that whatever TCG that is straight in the garbage. If you're posting on Tumblr as your way to promote your TCG, I don't know what's going on there. No, man. You know, I would also venture. I wonder. You know, I know Spencer is very like forward facing when it comes to vibes, but I wonder if the casual vibes player knows who Spencer is. Right? This may just be like a us thing, right? Like this may just be like a people that are like really into like the origins of vibes and where it came from that like know Spencer and like know his background. So I don't necessarily know if being a forward facing founder of a TCG is super important, right? And it probably is when it comes to like getting funds, right? When it comes to like getting institutional investors, when it comes to like, you know, people believing in you. But I don't necessarily know if it's like needed, right? Like if you're not a forward, like for example, who founded Cyberpunk? Tell me.
Da na 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 na. Who
See?
found
You
it?
don't know. You don't know.
No, hold on a second. No, I got it. I'm seized.
$13 million.
Two. Who founded Cyberpunk TCG?
Tua.
Weird Co in partnership with C. I can't wait. I don't even know. What
Yeah,
name. Oh,
see?
Mike Podsmith and R. Talasaurian Games.
Who?
What? Well,
Who?
hold on. let me share the screen right quick. Hold on a second. So this is
$13 million raised. Who? See?
Who?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's a bunch of different ways to like, I guess to do well, right? Like, it's not saying you have to have a forward-facing founder, but sometimes having a forward-facing founder that's good for your game can help it, right? So it's like not required, but if they're good, it could definitely help. Now, if they suck, it could definitely not help. You know,
listen, getting one of these things off the ground. I don't know if you have the ability to necessarily suck in 2026 with the you know the market dynamics, everything else. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Depends on how much money you got, right?
All right, so we gotta talk about something a little bit more serious, okay?
Uh-oh.
So you like almost every single weekend go to a card show, vending,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
There has been like a lot of concerns regarding security. Have you seen any difference of that at these events?
I mean, there's definitely security concerns, 100%. And as we've talked about before, the amount of money that circulates and changes hands at these large card shows is like in the millions, right? Probably in the tens of millions. And cash is king wherever you go. You know, a lot of people don't report their earnings when it comes to being a vendor at some of these shows, right? Now, not me, right?
Not Donnie Slabs, easily not
Donnie Slabs. We run
by the
everything
books.
above board. It's like people are like, "Can I get a discount if I pay cash?" And I was like, "I'd actually prefer if you Zelle me." You know, it goes straight in my bank account, and I don't have to walk out of here with tens of thousands of dollars in cash. So, you know, if you're a legit business, you probably don't want cash, as much as weird as that sounds. But no, there's definitely security concerns. The good shows hire security. The good shows have police officers walking around and things like that. But you know, there's been some really highly publicized robberies, especially, you know, one was in the LA area, one recently was in the Houston area with a vendor that we know. You know, I would say, luckily, I live in Texas. Most of us are carrying at shows. You know, I would venture a lot more people are carrying than you think are carrying when it comes to Texas card shows. But it's definitely a security concern. You know, I think, unfortunately, the segue here is somebody lost their life in Japan today, working at Pokemon Center Japan. Unfortunately, and you know, a loss of life is never good. I guess I don't want to say fortunately, but it was not related to cards. It just happened to be a worker at the card show. Unfortunately, had a stalker that decided to come in and take her life and then take his life. So it wasn't about cards, but it did happen at Pokemon Center, Mega Tokyo, Japan. So, I think that's part of why this gets brought up is you need to protect yourself. You need to be smart. There's a reason why we all have safes at our house instead of just leaving things out. The more you flaunt on social media, the more you put a target on your back. You just have to be safe, right? You have to do everything. Me and my vendor buddies, we walk out to our cars together. We walk into our cars together. We stay at the same hotels. We do anything we can, but you really have to be aware of what's going on around you, because there are just unfortunately some nefarious figures out there that, when money is involved, bad people come in.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons that I keep bringing up security so often, and if you guys have followed on the daily streams, because a lot of the content that we went over earlier, you might have seen it throughout the week, as I do the daily show covering just general news, is like it is a concern. And I think that there is a wave of new people that are coming in, and I think that it's better if by chance somebody comes by and they see the channel, that it's, hey, you know what, like this is a very, very fun thing, but there also has to be some sort of like a mental note that there are people, and it's not something you can kind of just go into without thinking, oh, this is going to be, a group of people that I love, which I think, from going to card shows, it's definitely that, and you'll be able to connect with a lot of vendors, but there is a lot of shenanigans about it. Which, have you seen the viral video of the guy that's in, I want to say Target, that is like puncturing holes into packs or like feeling them up, and that blew up overnight?
Well, you know what he's doing, right? So like in these packs, what he's looking for is he's looking for memorabilia cards, because oh shoot, now they're going to be really mad. I just dropped one of these figures. So what he's doing is, these memorabilia cards are thicker than normal cards. So what he's doing is he's pushing every single card to the side to see if he feels a thicker card. And if he feels a thicker card, he's going to buy that pack. That's exactly what he is doing there, right? You can look at him. He's pushing every single card one by one. He's pushing them in there. You can see him like push on the card to see if there's a thick card in there. And if there's a thick card, he's buying that pack. It's really disgusting, but I've seen it happen in person. I've seen an older gentleman just sitting over there, just fondling every single card pack. And it's absolutely disgusting. To be completely honest with you, I don't like it. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But hey, can I give you a PSA real quick? Can I give you a PSA? I'm going to give a PSA to Pokemon card vendors, okay? And this PSA to Pokemon card vendors is, quit taking photos with the cards you just sold or bought and stacks of cash right next to it. Stop. There's no other business in the world like a car dealership buys a car and just lays out cash like, hey, we paid $50,000 to this guy for his car today. Check out this cash. It's no other reason than to flaunt, and you're only putting a target on your back. You can literally just post the card and say sold, or post the card and say in, or trade. You don't have to post stacks of cash on your Instagram. And look, you may think that it's cool to flex to all your Pokemon friends, but some nefarious figure is looking through you posting in live at a show, hey, I took in this much cash. I took in this much cash. I took in this much cash. Why are you putting a target on your back? Not only is it tacky, we can argue that, but why are you putting a target on your back like that? So PSA to Pokemon card vendors, I don't know when this started. I don't know who invented it, but stop posting photos with cash all on a table because you just made a sale or you just made a purchase. That's all I gotta say.
That's it. That's done. We're out of here. That's the final point of the day. What a high point to leave it on. Donnie Slabs, completely agree with you. Again, guys, this episode is brought to you by Sync. So if you're going to a card show, if you're wanting to scan cards instead of fumbling around, typing in, oh, I don't know what card this is, and figuring it out, you can scan the card. It'll give you different options. You'll be able to see what roughly the price is, haggle a little bit if you want. Of course, right now it is only available on iOS. Android support is coming. Social components, even more TCGs than what's available on there. So we'd love for you guys to scan the QR code. Donnie Slabs, this has been an absolute pleasure as usual, sir.
As always.
As always. All right. We'll talk to you soon, guys. See you next Thursday. Peace. Dude, I can't believe I fat fingered it earlier. God damn it. God damn it. That was so good.